reflecting bits of the dream. Got called into a fire. I went to camp to check in. I'm walking around fire camp. It is this huge camp. And they're serving food, from my understanding. It's like dinner time. And it's just a buffet of just like, so it's like just like a food event. So much food everywhere. Which makes sense because of my subconscious. That was a big part of the conversation. It's about like fire camp, Cisco cafeteria food, big, but expecting hearty meals, but still like feeling like it's a compromise in my health journey since being with Lauren, but still feeling that encouragement just to eat whatever you eat. And the whole William conversation. Before I digress, I'm going through this camp and I'm looking for check-in. But I keep getting sidetracked I'm like being sent to the check-in office and I'm looking. I found myself wandering through the woods around the camp, just kind of like off on my own, getting distracted, running around, just anywhere but where I feel like I'm supposed to be. The sense of like aimlessly wandering through camp. And at one point, I remember like even being behind a house, which seemed like a private residence at the site where the camp was. It seemed like, but lost in that. And I go up to this table where 4 men, I think, and officers in white shirts were eating their dinner. And like some celebrity, like, I knew it was like some celebrity that was in camp was like, hey, you can have dinner with the chief officers here at their table. And immediately, and I recognized, like, I think it was Chief Anzo or Bravo. And I knew that, like, oh, I'm not an officer. I shouldn't be here. So I turned around and kind of like feeling kind of sheepish and embarrassed, kind of like walked away, and I walked toward the screen door and saw it was like the screen door similar to my old room at the 501. And so there was somebody in the bed. I'm like, oh no, I'm totally in the wrong place. This is like totally private residence. And I shouldn't be at that table. So I kept walking. And there's just bits of this dream of me just wandering around this big old fire camp with people everywhere doing their things. And as I'm walking, I'm observing like the camp staff, the support teams, all hanging out in their downtime, like the CCC crews or so. And like, and it's as if the operational period has begun. And I checked in at evening, but now it was like morning because it was daytime and everybody was around camp. And a lot of people were still eating. And I was like, what am I? Well, I wasn't getting out of camp, get out on the fire line. I was just in camp. And I was like, at first I think I was looking for check-in to get briefed and get an assignment. And then I was like looking to get my food, but I never got to any of those places. And I'm just wandering aimlessly through camp. Just wandering through camp. Even at one point, I remember going in to get my gear. I think it was closer to what felt like a check-in. And it was in my old basement in my room at the Shepherd's Way house. And I remember just seeing yellows all over the walls, but there were... I was checking in with some authority, some office. I was in that room, and I just went over to the yellows. There were the CAL FIRE yellows hanging on the wall, like the hundreds of them, just like an overstuffed closet full of yellow fire gear. And I knew those all to be mine. And so I kind of entitled to any of them. I walked over and started pulling them off the walls and looking at this CAL FIRE yellow fire shirt, and among others. It was just really weird. Like, I was there and I'm like, oh, I'm here and this check-in is happening now. It's at my old house. But little do they know this is my old room, and I feel like it isn't still now in this dream. So I'm like going through these uniforms. And then I wake up at a point to a bell on my phone, and it's Brandon about this fire assignment that came up just yesterday while I was working, ironically, for $400 a day. He texts me and he says, okay, because I confirmed with him and I moved my therapy appointment to today instead of tomorrow so that I could be available for the assignment tomorrow. And today's my one window of freedom, or not working now. Today's my one window. And I have a therapy appointment with David at 9. And then I'm going to Fairy Falls, maybe the Middle Fork as well, with Lauren. Meanwhile, in the back of my mind, I'm hearing the words of Madurai. You cannot make a wrong choice. 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 And in my subconscious mind, I feel just overwhelmed in some way by this. How did I get here? I woke up to this text, and I had this expectation that fires pay so much that this is why I go out on fires, and I've held out and waited to go on a fire. And then Brandon goes on to say the details of the assignment, and it just doesn't feel like anything I expected. And he goes, great, it's going to be a good assignment. Jeff's your contact. Do you have any questions? Call Jeff. Call me. It's a 12-hour shift, but you have to be there for 24 hours. So I assume that means you check in at 0700, you work 12 hours, but you can't check out until the next operational period. So then you just got to sleep in a fire camp. You got to eat their food. You just got to put in a one shift because I am filling in for one faller that needs relief for whatever reason. I get one shift on this fire to decide what I really want. And it's not what I thought it was going to be already. Because he said it's paying $400 a day. I just woke up to that text. And I'm thinking, what am I doing? How valuable is my time? What am I worth? I'm tired, but then I realize that as far as work goes, how much work have I done this summer? I feel tender, and when I think about it, I feel like I might be compromising myself, because the most valuable resource is my time and my energy and my health, and I've woken up with such a sore back. I don't know why my back hurts so much. And I feel like the thing I really want to do is rest. I don't know if this dream means that in my mind I'm already there. I'm at this fire camp and I don't know where to go. And the last time that I was here, I just fell in line. I was on an engine and I had an officer, and it's just like they all knew what to do, and all I had to do was show up. But I'm getting that call, and it already just feels different. And it's not what I expected when I got those numbers. And then sometime I imagine that this is what I asked for because I put it out there in the universe because I already compromised. If it was the little things. The little things that were shown to me. Like I had every opportunity to say, what is this job worth? And I looked at it and I'm like, I don't know. This yesterday. It doesn't look like that much. He said the oaks are not as high as the pines that you climbed before. They're shorter trees. I decided to give him that extra, every bit of fine tuning, cherry picking the limbs, so detailed, meticulous, that I hired a second guy to go out on the deck and help me choose what limbs to cut. And it took me 9 hours. At least I was there for 9 hours and I split my pay. I only asked for 7. And at the end, he said, "Do you feel like you did what you said you'd do, or you did a bit extra? What do you really want?" And again, then I just said 8. And 8 said, "Well, I'm not going to ask for too much more. But 100, yeah, because I want an even number. I want to take care of William too." So I asked for 8, and I said, "Split the check. I'm giving them 50% to my crown guy." So I made $400 that day, yesterday. And then when I woke up and got this text, there it was. $400 is what they're offering. $400 a day is what this job pays. For a 12-hour shift, it's $33 an hour. Ironically, that is what I graciously pay my ground guys, $33 an hour, while I bid a job for more. I would pay them $33 an hour, but still, in my heart, when I bring a guy on like Gary or William, it really doesn't matter, even Massimo in the day. I always wanted to insist on paying them 50% of my wage because that felt fair. Because I understand that our time is so valuable. Not accounting for how much energy, how much money, how much I put into doing what I do and knowing what I know to being the climber that I am. People like Gary Scott tell me I'm worth so much more. That me and him together should make $300 an hour. That I'm worth $150 at least. And I'm settling for 33. But that's what everybody else is doing too, I guess. And I see all these YouTube videos, all these Facebook videos of fallers, great fallers. I'm a contract climber, and the question being, what should a contract climber make? The majority rules in all the comments always floats around the number, floating around for $400 a day. That's a wage. You do your job. Just do your job. You're a climber. And only the business owners are going to make more than that. But boy, do they have so much to pay in their dues to maintain the company and the equipment. And I may seemingly have none of those things, so I feel inadequate as a business owner. But I am, because I do the same job. Man, God, I do the same job, and out of the goodness of my heart, but guys, I do care about everybody who shows up. I give a guy half my wage. just to show up, tell me what to cut, be a second hand and eye. And just, I want to give so much. Then I would spend so much time in the morning preparing for his arrival. I make him breakfast. And then I go home to get the oil that I forgot from my sauce. And then I go and I turn on the oven and I cook up the cast iron, the mushrooms, and the zucchini. And I make him lunch. And I make sandwiches. And I bring it back and I feed him because I care. I know that I care. I care about my people. And I know what their time is worth. So I pay a guy no less than $33 an hour to show up on my job. And even when I'd pay $33 an hour, I insist on giving him 50%. I can't even give him that. But then it turns out that that's what I make. That's what I'm being offered. And I appreciate my family, like, oh, thank you so much, because I was able to renegotiate a wage on the farm for $33 an hour. And then I have people that I walk with on this land who says, wow, you do amazing things. You're worth more. You're worth so much more, they say. I'm trying the tapping thing because that's how Farouche got me. That's how she got me out of a dark place once. I'm not saying this is the same, but I'm feeling like I'm just, wow. Everything we digest, everything we see is in the consciousness. Even if we don't know what we're doing, I don't need to know. But God, today's my day to rest. So I'm gonna rest. I know that I'm tough. There we go. Hey, I might not feel like I'm very strong. I feel like I'm tired. I hope I'm doing this right. I might feel like I'm broken. I know, because I feel so tired. But I wake up and I'm so sore. And I think about every day that I've been on the fire line before. God, and it was so much. God. And I'm nervous because it's a lot. I haven't been there since. So a lot's coming up for me. Oh, and I see. I have a beautiful mind. The fact that I'm doing this right now, this is a good thing, even if I don't know when I'm just aimlessly wandering through my thoughts. Just like I was aimlessly wandering through the fire camp in that dream. I'm wandering through my mind. I'm not the mind. I know I am more. I know I'm not this body, but why is my mind so fast and busy? Why is my body so slow and tired? Why is it even hard for me to catch my breath? I just want to receive. I feel so much. And the thing is, I just kind of love myself enough to know what I need. But I feel like I might be getting caught in an old trap, a snare of feeling, trying the tapping, and there are all these tools, and that's what you pay for, right? Pay for the tools, but I think people don't pay me for the spiritual tools or guidance in the past. Historically, people pay me for my hard work, my physical labor, my hard work, my blood, sweat, and tears, my body. People pay me for my hard work and my strong body. I have muscles. I lift. I cut. I hike. I work hard. And I even had a captain say, "Oh boy, you do the work of so many men if we had more firefighters like you." And it's as if I never let go of that. I'm still trying to prove myself to everybody. And all I want to do is rest. Ugh. There's just so many layers, so where do you begin? And how do you cry and let it be without getting stuck in the story? Sometimes then I feel like there's somebody who knows this better than anybody who's saying the right things. It's Ren and Desiree, particularly. And I have so much faith that Devin knows, that Devin would know, and I don't know how to open up, I don't know where to begin. Just whatever comes through. This is my form of talk therapy, and then I don't waste this valuable time, that hour that I have with him, in an hour or and a half from now. But when I see my watch, and I see an hour and a half, I see spaciousness. It's an hour and a half that's just for me. Feels good. I want to take that in. I want to change gears. I want to change my perspective. Even what Lauren said last night, God, I love her. She's so sweet, soft, and supportive. Hey, just go. Try it out. If you said, then you can always say no. Try it. And how empowering would it be to go into the Lion's Gate after a shift like this, if it were to be, if it were my truth after, and say, look, this didn't meet my expectations. I expected that we'd make more on fires. I thought, well, I'll hold out. I'll stay on the list because when we get on a fire, I'll put everything else aside because in the long run, boy, I'll make a lot of money. Because they tell me fires will pay $1,000 a day. You're offering me $400 a day. At 12 hours, that's $33 an hour. When I could be going around in town and helping my community for much more. And I could be helping William, who was working a minimum wage job, part-time at that, and scrounging for landscaping work like I'm not going to say I am scrounging. I am not. I am manifesting. I'm manifesting because the universe, Shasta, is taking care of me. She's giving me opportunities. People come to me. They say, I want your services. What will you charge? And I get to decide. Oh my God, it's all coming together. I think I know what I want to talk to Devin about. What this is more important than anything because this is about my sense of worth, my sense of worth. And this imposter syndrome. Because I desire to be like Brandon in some way. I desire to hire and employ guys. But boy, there we go. For an employee to make 20 some dollars an hour and a contractor to make 35, but I'm going out on this fire for 33. Something's not adding up. I didn't come this far to make so little for my time. Despite what anybody else tells me, I know my worth. And if you can't afford me, what I'm giving you, number's too much, let it go. There's something to be said about the desperate text message that I sent when I got turned down for that $12,000 job. Even between my conversations with Gary, he said, I will not do that job for less than 8,000. If you do it, if you bid that job under 8, you can find somebody else. And I thought, wow, he's greedy. We should be grateful. We have an opportunity by the hour, and the number just keeps going down and down and down. When I think about what I'd be willing to do it for, just to get the job, because boy, this is a good strip, boy. Anybody would want this job. Let's get this homeowner to agree. Let me cut it. Well, I compare those numbers to what I'm used to paying on an hourly rate as a timber faller. 6 hours of cutting, $100 an hour, $600. And I say, okay, I'll account for that. I can do it in 2 days. 6 hours, I can do it in 12 hours easy. At 12 hours, I say I will cut that strip for $1,200. And I'll leave it perfectly laid in the ground. I'm not even counting for the trees that I'll climb and rig because they're off the power lines and the roads. There's 5 trees hanging off, leaning into the roads, hanging over power lines, substantially big trees. And I'm still worth, I would say, $100 an hour. But here I'm doing it for 33. Talk therapy, I guess. This is what this is. And anybody'd see this. It may not make any sense to them, but it's not supposed to make sense. It doesn't even make sense to me. But I just got to talk about it, let it out, because I got to move this energy. Maybe that's the key. Maybe that's why I do all this. Consider I've been on this video ramp